Yoga is yoga's my boyfriend. I love it. Yoga is gosh, it's so many things, and society perceives yoga as certain things, but this perception is changing as times are changing. And generally speaking, what I've seen from being in the yoga field is at first I was very intimidated to go to the yoga world. I was like, I don't look like that, I don't bend that way, I'm not this like super skinny 20-year-old that can put my leg to touch my head. I'm not sporty, athletic. I really don't like to sweat. I do like stretch pants though. That was kind of my thinking, what society perceived it as. And the first, the first like California yoga class that I took, because I had a different experience when I was in New Jersey. I literally almost puked on the mat. I was just like gonna throw up everywhere. It was too much. And I think what society doesn't understand about what yoga is, because everyone that finds out I'm a yoga teacher, when I just meet people randomly, they always say the same thing: I'm not flexible. And yoga really is not just poses. That's 1/8 of what yoga is. Yoga is 8 different parts. It has to do with breathing. It has to do with meditating. It has to do with being a good person to yourself. It has to do with being a good person to the world. And so in my teacher training, which is, there's 3 options. I have a 2-week intensive every summer. I have 9-week sessions going throughout the year, and then a 6-month session that I do twice a year. And so for the 2-week session, it's every day. We meet every day. It's just yoga, 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 yoga. For the 9-week, we meet Fridays and Saturdays. And for the 6 months, we meet just 1 weekend a month. And so, first of all, that's there for you to figure out, okay, I need to learn this fast, or, oh, I don't live in San Diego, but I want to learn from Sean, I'm going to come in the summer, or I would love it to be 9 weeks so I can slowly integrate it into my life, or I'm a busy mom, I need to do it just once a month. And so I have those options for you. But in the training, regardless of how it is spread out in terms of time, you learn the same concepts. And what you learn is what yoga is. It's 8 parts. And so we focus on one part each class, and we dissect it, and we feel it, and we learn it, and you grow, and you heal it. And so you learn that yoga is a path to peace, a path to understanding yourself. It is not necessarily a split. Although doing a split will teach you a lot about yourself, or trying to get into a split, I've been trying to do this for years, will teach you a lot about yourself. And so we really dissect, we study yoga, but I don't believe that I used to be a teacher, a professor. I used to be a writing professor. That was my job before I was a yoga instructor, and I did that for a long time. I did that for almost 8 years or 7 years or so. I was a professor when I was 21, teaching English and writing. And I've learned from teaching, and my undergraduate degree and my master's degree is all in education. And I've learned from teaching just a subject in a school setting that people don't learn from just reading. They need experience. And that people learn in various ways. There's visual learners, there's auditory learners, and then there's more of this kinesthetic, like feel and do learning. And so my teacher training really honors all the styles of learners that there are. And it really allows you to do, because we could talk about it till we're blue in the face, or you can sit there, experience, cry from it, and then get it. And so that's really what my training is. It's you learning. And so we take the experiences that have been passed down for generations, for thousands of years. We take the history, you understand it, and then I give you an experience to live it. And sometimes those experiences are on the mat, we're stretching. And sometimes those experiences are out in the world. I take you on field trips. And each training, they're different. But I always take my students to a grocery store to really understand that what you're choosing to put in your body is yoga. And how marketing is very manipulative. And it says it's healthy, or it says it's natural. But that's really not organic or pure or whatever. We go snorkeling. Whichever training you are, we do that because it's just so epic. We go snorkeling in the ocean. We see fish, stingrays, all these beautiful things. To learn the breath, because what happens when I take away this part? What happens when I take away this part? And that when you find your breath, you can see a whole different world, and snorkeling teaches you that. Sometimes I take my students to farms. We go on the organic farms, collect chicken eggs, do volunteer work. We go on hikes to learn as meditation. We do stand-up paddleboard yoga on a paddleboard. So I'm like, all right, last week I tried to get you to do Warrior 2 correctly, because that's also something we dissect the poses, because truly, when you take a yoga class, it's just because of timing, the teacher can't really dissect every single pose for you. So I know when I started taking yoga, I was like looking at that person, is this right? Comparing myself in the mirror. And it was only until I started studying the poses that I realized, like, shit, chaturanga is not a push-up. Like, this means coming down. For it. So you get to understand the poses, and then you're like, ooh, this is hard if you do it correctly. I do need to suck in my core. I do need my arms to be strong. My gaze needs to be. This is harder than when I'm just like, in class. And then once you feel that, I throw your butt on a stand-up paddleboard and make it harder. Then you come back to the mat and you're like, oh, I could do this because there's no water wobbling underneath me. And maybe we'll do yoga in a hammock, an aerial hammock, or maybe we will do it on the beach. Who knows? Everything changes. Every training, whatever happens, is destined for that group. But the training is the most beautiful thing, because we create a family, and the past graduates are still a family, so they're here helping. And you just constantly know each other, and you meet great people. That's the best part about yoga. You are connected with people that want to care about themselves and want to be better for the world. And so the training really looks at yoga from all perspectives. And don't worry if you've never done a back bend before, or camel pose, or headstand, or that if you feel like you aren't athletic, because none of that matters in the training. If you feel drawn to take the training to learn more, then that's it. You don't need to be good at yoga. There's no such thing as being good at yoga. Yoga is sitting with yourself. And if you can sit with yourself, or learn to sit with yourself, then that is good. And it's difficult sometimes, but it's the most beautiful thing, and becomes very easy once you learn this. You don't need any yoga experience. I've done many trainings. At the point that I'm recording this right now, it will be my 13th training coming up in the summer of 2016. So I've done many trainings. I used to do trainings at a massage school, yoga trainings at a massage school, and many of those students never did yoga before, but it was part of their massage degree. So they're like, oh, cool, I'm going to do yoga. And so I had complete beginners. I've trained people as young as 13. I've trained people with autism, post-traumatic stress disorder, men, women, skinny, not skinny, Spanish speaking. And that's really cool, because then they can teach yoga in Spanish and English. I mean, I've taught literally every type of human so far, and they're all so awesome. And I've taught moms, I've taught teenagers, I've taught mom and teens together, I've taught military men. I've taught it all, and it's beautiful, because that is every human can and will evolve from just learning how to hang with themselves. And then that demographic is the perfect person to teach. Me, I am not athletic, but I can stand on my head. I can do some stuff. But I found yoga as a means to calm my chattering mind that talks too much. And so that's generally who I'm a good teacher for. But also that's the majority of the world, so I got real easy with that. But whatever you are, whoever you are, people want to learn from you. But also, you don't need to take the training to become a teacher. If you do take the training, you're going to be internationally certified through the Yoga Alliance. And the way that I did it, my training's different than others, is you're actually going to get 2 certifications. Many teachers would make you pay another $2,500 to get a second one, but I really feel like Vinyasa, which is a sweatier breath to movement, and then Hatha, which is a strong, sturdy, hold the poses style of yoga, can be adequately taught together and then distinguished apart. And so you actually get 2 certifications, one as a teacher of Vinyasa, one as a teacher of Hatha, and it's internationally recognized, so you can teach anywhere. And then also in my teacher training, the 200 hour, you have the option to do a stand-up paddleboard certification for an extra $500. And so that becomes a weekend, but you're already there on Saturday, so you just come back on Sunday, and then you learn this whole other style of yoga too. So you can actually walk away with 3 styles of yoga certifications, which your resume will already be pretty stacked, which is awesome. Because there's many styles of yoga, and so having these, it really broadens them. But you don't need to take the training if you want to be a yoga teacher. If you want to be a yoga teacher, I'm your girl. I am an advocate for holistic healers. I believe we should all, it's a $32 billion industry. All yoga teachers should be millionaires. And so we talk about how that's possible, and it is possible. A lot of people will say, no, that's a waste of money. I'm living proof that you can live well, abundantly, because this is valuable medicine. But also just take the training just to learn about yourself. Like the summer 2-week one is like summer camp for the soul, because we do fun things. You learn yoga and then you do fun things. We do tarot readings. I teach you about tarot cards. We play with crystals. We use herbs. We make our own medicines. We come up with stretches that make the body, you really understand it, and then you become, what works for me? Okay, instead of getting an Advil, next time I'm going to do this breathing exercise when I have a headache. And so it's really, you just learn about things for yourself. And so the training is open to anyone, literally. If you feel like you can't do it, that's a blockage, and we'll get through it. And if you cry in the training, you get a sticker, because that's a good job. You're releasing things instead of holding them into your body. And if you decide to do something out of your comfort zone, you get a hug, because that's beautiful. We can stay stagnant and safe, or we can evolve and grow. And if you think you can't because of it's a blockage or society conditioning, I'm here to tell you that you can. And it's just beautiful to be around you and to learn and grow. Whether it takes you to this amazing career where then you can pass this on to others, or just a better version of yourself. And I got to tell you, and students, ask any student that's taking a training with me, they have shifted profoundly. They have either fallen deeper in love with their partner, or attracted the right partner, invited this true love, or learned to love in a way so then they get this relationship in their life. Or they've broken up with someone who didn't serve them, to see and realize the value that they are. I've had students leave their jobs and then create the life that they want. Students have lost as much as 25 pounds during the training, during the 9 weeks, just from learning how to take care of yourself. I don't believe in diets. I believe in just awareness. This is my body. I love you. I don't want to put that food in there, that poison in there, and then that shifts everything. People have gotten richer financially. Their friendships have gotten better. I mean, everything shifts. They look better. Their skin's more vibrant. Their hair is longer. The training teaches you how to be a better version of you through using the medicine of yoga. And so it costs $2,500 in payment plans that are flexible, and we come up with a contract together. Or if you pay up front, it's $2,300. And this is average, or a little bit below average of the cost of a training. And again, the first lesson is paying for the training. If you think that it's expensive, you need to shift your relationship with money, because nothing's more valuable than your health. Nothing's more valuable than doing something that makes you learn and grow. And that you will make that money way quickly back, as I did, if you continue to practice the medicine. And we can start payment plans. If you want to take it next year, you can start giving me $100 every 2 weeks until blah, 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 until you get it for 25 weeks. I mean, we can figure it out. Money is not an obstacle. And once you open or establish that relationship, you're going to see how more money just keeps popping in. Someone's going to be like, oh, here's this job for you. And that's kind of what happened with me. You get a book that I wrote, and it's just beautiful. So that's the training. If you have questions, please email me. And check on my website for when the next one is, or the next one, because I do them constantly. There's only a few weeks in between each that I get a break, that I take a break. And I'd love to have you. I really, really, truly would.